Hi, guys. Welcome back to my podcast. Welcome to what am I now? I transformed from the wedding mystic to Mystic Manny Jen, where we talk about all things spirituality, self development, astrology, human design, everything and everything. But also just the real life stuff that happens. Yeah, we're just a hub for feel good vibes, but also learning different techniques and different things you can implement into your life to find balance, self-care, self-love, all of it. So if you're into those vibes, welcome here. I thank you for taking the time to listen to me, to get this transmission and this little actually big life update from me. And I'm just going to share my story of what's been going on because I think the last time I was on here, I was, you know, in the process of being in a coupling, a conscious coupling with a man that I thought was my divine masculine and that I had a lot of big plans with, a lot of big dreams. And now we are no longer together. We are, I feel like, still energetically somewhat connected. I still feel him, and I'm sure he feels me too. But a lot of big breakthroughs, a lot of big realizations, a lot of big epiphanies, I guess. And I guess when it comes down to it, we had an amazing time together. We had 3 months where things were just like really beautiful, and we got to really just give each other the space and the energy and also the idea of what we want with each other. And that was just so beautiful and sacred. And I'm glad that we got to be able to experience that, because for me personally, being in a relationship with someone that really values me and sees me in my light, that just really skyrocketed my confidence. I started really feeling it and just like, oh my gosh, I am amazing. And like, wow, it was really just beautiful being in that. But also at the same time, like we helped each other in different ways. So for him, it was more so me um, I love talking about human design and zodiac and helping people understand themselves. And so at the root level of it, I basically gave him the tools to learn about himself and for him to hit a realization where he was just like, I'm not worthy enough for you. He did not feel that, even though as much as I could tell him, like, it doesn't matter. I feel that you're worthy of me and I see your value and stuff. He has to believe that. And so it was a really, really, really difficult few weeks for me because we, I started feeling a shift in his energy a few weeks, I guess, after I came back from Atlanta and I was like integrating into life here again and getting in my flow and I'm feeling really good. I'm doing these podcasts and I'm excited and I'm just my bubbly, happy self and I can't wait to share everything with him. And I think a lot of times when we would have our like time together to talk, it was like he just really felt like he couldn't match my energy. And it's not that I was even expecting him to. It was just, I'm so lit up by what I do. I'm so lit up when things come together and when I make connections and when things just like fall into place and it just feels so magical. And I just want to talk about it. And I'm so happy. And like, then for me to get with him and say all of that, I could definitely see where someone who's kind of going through the motions of 3D regular life, even though he's working towards his goals and he has a really great game plan for what he's doing, he's still in the day to day of life. He still has to wake up and clock in and go into work and be in work mode. And then when it's done, then he gets to enjoy his time going to the gym or whatever it is he's doing. So it's so weird because in that time that we were together in the 3 months, there was a significant amount of time that I was in Atlanta that like we got to fully date and like see what that life would be like with him coming over and like us going out on these dates and us just really enjoying this like sweet time getting to know each other. And it was just so playful and fun and romantic. And he's writing poems and I'm melting and he's getting me gifts and flowers and I'm like cooking for him. And we just got to really see what life could be like if we were together. And it was beautiful. It was sacred. It was just like things were in a flow. He was in my family. He was spending time with my nephews. He was just like, it was all of this beautifulness. And I'm so glad I got to experience that. I'm so glad I got to see a man really step up and be a man and like, but also still have this nurturing side and got to be part of our family. And it was just this beautiful flow. And then, the reality hits of just like, okay, well, my lease is ending at the end of July. And initially, when we got together, the plan was like, man, we're so magnetic. We have to be together. As soon as my lease is done, I'll move back up. I'll be in Atlanta. I'll start life there. We'll get like a place together. We'll get a 2-bedroom because we need space. And we had these big visions of just like coupling together and everything's just flowing. But then we both kind of sat with that idea. And as beautiful as it sounds and as practical as it sounds, we both had to come to a realization. And actually, I think we did separately that I'm not that happy in Atlanta when it comes to living there. I don't feel the most fulfilled. I've done a lot there. I'm happy with like the connections and my family and friends that I have there, but energetically wise, I feel inspired, lit up, happy to be in Florida. I like to be by water. I need to be just in these healing vibes. And I think he realized it when I came down that he could feel a shift in my voice. He could feel that I'm happier. And like, he's like, you've never been able to just do something for you. And you should just be able to do this on your terms and not like have to worry about me, because also he was in the position of like, he's ready for someone to take care of him and cook for him. And I am that. Like by at all means, I love to play a wife because I've done that in, real life. I've been married before and there were aspects of being married that I loved. And all of like my more long-term relationships, we were living together. So I was basically also doing the same thing. So cooking dinners, cleaning, laundry, like that just comes very natural to me. And I love to do that for whoever I'm with. Like it's just, I don't look at it like it's hard. I'm just like, oh, this is what you do. And like you can do things together and it can be fun. So I always just try to see the best in that. And then I have this scrape in my hand. But so it was like almost like we sold the idea of a version of ourselves that we both are not yet. Because also in this phase that I'm in, I'm really like cultivating what I'm trying to do with my businesses, and like I'm really tapping into a lot of spiritual energy. I'm learning a lot. I'm integrating a lot. I'm meditating every day for multiple hours. I'm like hitting different levels with this. And he's not on that wavelength. He has a different system and a different routine. And I'm not going to sit here and try to make him jump on my thing. So when we looked at that, like when we got together, it was initially like so beautiful. Things are going, it's flowing. And like, then we're like, yeah, we're going to live together. I'm like, I'm going to take care of you. And he's like, I want to take care of you. And I want to make sure like you don't even have to work. Like, and that kind of stuff. But the reality of it is like, he's not in a financial position to take care of me. And honestly, I'm still even building my second businesses and getting all this stuff going. And it's like, I'm still doing my stuff and I don't want to stop working. But like, I'm getting my stuff to where like I can be able to work remotely. I can be able to like live in a different country because I don't have to physically give my time up and stuff. So I'm really building into that because I'm here to do a lot of freaking things. And I'm really coming to terms with that. Like the photography was my bridge. it definitely opened me up. But now it's this healing journey. It's helping people heal. It's doing retreats. It's doing really impactful work with the world and going to different locations and doing that. And I think my soul is just like craving that. It's craving community, connection, and just like building just this beautiful light on earth wherever I go. So, and I love that. I love that I'm getting so clear on like what I'm here to do, and I'm not sacrificing that for him. And I think that's what he realized too, is like if I was to just end everything and go there, I would be sacrificing it. And then I would kind of resent him, and I would be like, oh man, well, I moved to make this work and now it's not working. And then we would fight. And like, I think he foresaw. Oop, the mic just fell. I think he's like foreshadowed it, or like he saw a vision of like, if we continue together, he would start distancing himself more from me. He would maybe start not treating me right, whatever it was. He didn't feel it was fair to me and where I'm going with my life journey. So I really, really do respect this man so much. And I love him so much. I don't know if he'll ever listen to my stuff or see it, but I love him really like at the bottom of my heart, because he was the first man to really, really, really see and feel me and understand what I'm here to do, but also let me do that and not try to control it and not try to make it his way because it was convenient and stuff. Like he sacrificed, our love essentially to give me my freedom to really step into this next level version of myself that I've been building. I've definitely been building. I don't want to say I've like been wasting time, because I think all my building blocks of like doing the work and that kind of stuff, shadow work, all this, the stuff I've been doing has led me to this point where now I'm really like I asked for quantum jumping and stuff, and now I'm feeling it like having to lose people, having to let things go that like I thought was going to be forever. I really saw us getting married and having kids and living somewhere by the mountains and just living this beautiful life together, and like just the dynamic we had, like the timeline that we saw together is so beautiful. And I don't want to say that that doesn't exist, because it could be a possibility in the future if our paths do cross again, and if the healing is done on both sides, because it's not just him. And I've been hitting that realization as well, because I'm like, oh, I'm just further along in my journey. He doesn't feel like he can keep up. But no, this is like, I feel like relationships are a mirror. So if one person is going through something, the other person is kind of going through the similar thing, or maybe something that goes with that. And for him, it's definitely a self-worth thing. He has to dig really deep. He's got to do some subconscious reprogramming and like really dig deep. And for me, I have to do the same thing too. And even with being on my healing journey so far, I thought I healed from like my divorce and stuff. And in reality, when I sit down with that, I'm like, I didn't. I literally just like talked about it in a couple of posts. I did a podcast on it where I just kind of said what happened. But I don't know if I fully have broken down and like released all the heavy, burdensome weight that came with that marriage. And I don't think I have. Like with this last breakup with Matthew, I did a breathwork session, and that was transformational. I felt so good and so light after, because I just got everything out. And I'm like, I didn't do this with my marriage that I was in for 3 years. So like a lot of stuff like that is surfacing now, because it's like I'm really stepping into this role where I want to help people, where I want to help people heal, but I also want to give them the tools so that they can heal themselves, and they can have the right outlets for when they do need to seek help and when they need to look outside for guidance. Because even with me, like I'm hitting a point where like, yeah, I'm doing all this research. I'm tapping into these meditations. I'm taking classes. I'm doing courses. I'm learning. I'm integrating. I'm doing this every day. But like, I'm like, I still haven't let go of control all the way. And so I've been called, I guess, for ayahuasca, I would say probably since not this last, I guess it's been like 2 years. It would be, yeah, it would be 2 years. Because it was on my 34th birthday, maybe. When I was living in the house with my other ex at the time, and I did the mushroom ceremony, and that was really great and opened up a lot of things. I think after that point, it was like, okay, you know that like when you give up control like this, you're going to gain knowledge, you're going to become more self-aware, you're going to heal from things and see yourself differently and see the world differently. Like it really is kind of a ego death for sure. So I've done that and I've been called for ayahuasca, since then, but I haven't found the right opportunities. I was going to go with a friend here in Florida, and I'm really glad that I didn't because I heard some terrible things about that. When you're looking at ayahuasca retreats, definitely consider and ask questions. Like I'm learning this myself is like based on her story of like it being like 50 people in there and not enough help and not a lot of like support, how traumatized she is and how like she's pretty scarred from it and she doesn't have any direction and like no support and stuff like that really bothered me. One in the sense of like I don't like that kind of stuff. Like you you don't like you don't turn healing into like, I understand it can be a business and it ultimately has to run and you have to pay for things and stuff, but like not at the sacrifice of the people that are going to attend. And if you're not going to be able to provide enough support, like I don't like that. Like limit the number of people you take or have more people on staff or whatever you need to do. But like just churning it out where you're like, oh, well, we're going to make like 5 grand in a weekend. If we do this 1 day retreat or 2 day retreat, we're going to do that. And like, it's just a money thing at the end of the day. And I just really didn't like that. So I've been very selective when it comes to looking at what retreats I want to go to. And at first I was like, oh, I guess it has to be out of country. But then I'm like, oh, I kind of don't want to be out of country when something like that is happening. Like I do like the safety of knowing like I'm somewhere where people know and that kind of stuff. And like I said, I'm just weighing the things back and forth. And I'm in this ayahuasca group, and I think it's like ayahuasca in the USA group. And a post came up today, and it was like, we have one spot left for a retreat coming up in 2 weeks. And I was just like so drawn to it. And I started asking some questions. I was like, well, how many people are there? Because that bothers me too. If there's more people and not enough help and you're just like trying to figure things out, like where's the support? And the lady was so nice and just provided all the answers. And it's a small group. It's only 7 people. And it's a 2-day retreat. So you start with one ceremony the first night to kind of ease you in, and then the full ceremonies the next day. And there's like no eating. It's a full-on retreat. No phones, no like you got to turn it all in and just be with yourself. And part of me is just so ready for this. And I love that because I feel like I've been kind of training myself while I've been here in Florida of like my phone stays in do not disturb for pretty much the whole day now. At first it would just be until like 2 o'clock and I was like, okay, I could turn it back on. But now I leave it that way and I like it that way. I like not being accessible to everyone. And I like for people to think like, does she need to be talked to right now or is she good? And even my sister told me that today. She's like, yeah, I see it on all the time. And I'm just like, I rethink like, do I need to tell her this? And then I'm like, no, I don't. That kind of thing. I can just tell her on the phone later. And I think it just makes you more conscious of like when and how you talk to people. Because I'm like that too. When I see people are in do not disturb, I'm like, okay, they're like prioritizing themselves now, and I'm about that. So I basically am going to this retreat now in 2 weeks. I signed up. It's going to be really amazing. I'm excited for the connections. I'm excited to really sit with myself and get deep, especially the caveat on top, or whatever you would say, is that this retreat is particularly in Long Island, where I was married for 3 years and where I spent a significant amount of time dealing with a lot of shit. And so I really just felt like, wow, what a complete circle. And this is crazy enough that it's a 16-year cycle that this is now. Like now this would be the 16th year. And I'm like, okay, I gotta face it. I gotta look it dead in the face, and I gotta be there with it. And I have to break free of this, of these beliefs, of these chains, of all the weight that's been keeping me down. And really feeding into like the self-worth stuff. Even though I've been doing so much work, I do my affirmations, I listen to them, I say them, I'm doing my tapping, I'm really feeling it. Even throughout this last breakup, I have never been more secure with myself in a breakup besides this one, because I knew 100% it had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do that I'm not good enough. It had nothing to do with my worth. It had to do with him wanting to deal with his stuff. And I can respect that. I can honor that, and I can send him love. And, we don't talk now. It's completely no contact. And this is what it is. Like, this is what he needs. And I'm okay with it. I'm not like down about it. I mean, the first few days it was a little harder because I was used to talking to him or checking in with him or doing voice notes, and then to integrate back into life where you have to just be with yourself. And I'm like, now I'm getting in the flow of it even more. Like, I love my alone time. I'm like back on my walks. I'm back on my working out. I'm back on my groove, and things have really been opening up in so many different ways, just with the connections I'm making, the people I'm meeting, all that amazingness. And I couldn't be more thankful for everything that has led me to this point, because I would not be here ready to really dive in and step into myself, into this next level version of myself, if I did not go through everything that I've been through. So that is my first retreat. And then a couple of days ago, I had the calling to look at a retreat in Mount Shasta in California, Northern California. And I booked that. And mind you, I've never been to like a full-on retreat. Like, I've done like little things, just like not really a retreat. It was more of like, I used to work with this nonprofit that did photography for people who are like on hospice or they're dying. And they had us come for a weekend. And that was the most similar thing to a retreat I've ever been in. And that was really beautiful. And I'm glad I did that, but it wasn't like this. And so since I am wanting to get into this world of retreats and I want to host them, I'm like, I need to participate in a couple and see how they're going and see what I get from it. And I just need to integrate it that way as a learning, but also for me to heal. So I was really called to this retreat in Northern California. It's with this woman named, I think it's Amalu. I don't know if I said that right, but I just came across her stuff. I looked at her page. It looked clear. It looked like you get something clear from it. She helps guide you. She has a lot of knowledge, and it really was like, okay, this is a 4-day thing. Go out there and really get to yourself. And so the ayahuasca will kind of be my first trip. And then 2 weeks later, I'll do the second one with Amalu. But there's no plant medicine with that one. It's just full on like different sound healing, different teachings, different things like that, where you really can learn things to integrate into your daily life. And I already practice a lot of things on my own, but it's going to be really nice to learn some more. And that way I can integrate that into my practices and then what I teach as well. So I'm so excited. This month is going to be full of transformation, deep healing, really releasing things. Have no stress right now in terms of like um my business. I know I'm supported. I know my team as well. Like I have one retreat where I will be, the California one is when I will be the California one is when I have a team event in Atlanta. So I'm not going to be there. So I'm going to hand it off to the team lead. I'm going to, have my meeting with them early this month and get things going, give them the context, do all my work to make it diligent and make it efficient. But then I'm handing it off to them and I can't control anything at that point. So my team will be there. They'll do a great job. Everyone will be happy. And it's going to be amazing because I have full and complete trust into my team. I'm sorry. I'm like a little under the weather and I'm like sniffling because crying and stuff and releasing things, but also just like dealing with these sinus things going on right now. I do feel like it's some kind of spiritual thing too, oddly enough. Like it just kind of came out of nowhere. And at first it was my throat. And I was like, oh, maybe I need to speak. And then now that I'm speaking, it's like my throat feels completely better. It's not sore, but now I'm feeling like the drainage and stuff's wanting to come out that way while I'm talking. So hopefully in the next day or two, that just goes away and I'm clear with that. But yeah, so this month, a lot of healing, a lot of connection, to myself. Another thing I've been playing with is, I don't know how seasoned you are listening to me, if you do this kind of work already, but the Akashic records, I've heard so much about this and I've always just thought like, oh, other people can do it, but I don't think I can. And then I was like, well, why don't I try instead of like going out for a reading and, asking people to tell me what it is? I'm like, why don't I do it myself and learn? So I've been like practicing on YouTube, and for the last 2 to 3 days, I've been playing with Akashic records and really just like uncovering a lot with that. I'm doing some automatic writing where I'm just take a journal and I'll close my eyes and I write what comes. And that's been giving me a lot of like openings and realizations there, because I'll go back later and I'm like can see where my mind was with it and um, what was coming up at that time. So if you don't know what Akashic records are, I'll probably make another video about this just to go into it deeper. But basically it's like the universal infinite records of like all of our past lives and all the lessons, the different obstacles and all like the good times, all of it just is like in this infinite library, and we can tap into it where we can see where like different moments are highlighted in our life now. You can tap into like your past lives and see what you were dealing with then and see how it's kind of influencing your life now. And it's just really a cool world to be in, and I like to play in it now. So I've been doing that at least once or twice a day now and getting a lot of good information with it. It's explaining a lot about my relationships, and even with Matthew, I always felt like we had some kind of soul connection, and the deeper I got into it, I was like, yeah, we definitely did. I won't get into the details of it, but we definitely were together in a past life. I don't know who was who, or I mean, I'm pretty sure I was the female, he was the male. And it was like we had this forbidden romance, but we secretly got married, and then he died in war. And I mean, the stuff sounds just so wild when you talk about it. Like when I'm talking to my sister on the phone, I'll just like be telling her this stuff, and I'm like, man, if anyone was to just like listen to our conversations that we like talk about golden dragons and like just really out there stuff. And it's like people just be like, y'all are like delusional and crazy. But there's a whole world to this stuff. And when you open it up, it's like you really just don't give any crap about what people think. Like people are going to think you're crazy anyway. So might as well give them something to talk about. And like, I'm sorry, I like to live in my reality where like what I feel and think is real, and trusting myself and trusting my intuition instead of continuously doubting it. Oh no, that's in your head. Oh no, that's in your head. You're just thinking that. Like, no, if you go in deeper, there's usually something there. And that even down to like the healing capabilities that I have. And so I've learned Reiki. I do a lot of healing work. And I think even when I was with my ex now, so Matthew, I would do Reiki on him. And then at the end, I'd be like, did you feel anything? And he's like, you doubt yourself, but you have it. And like, I believed him because he's very intuitive with his body. So he would feel the shifts when I would work on him in certain areas. He would feel the releases. And so I've always just kind of like doubted my capabilities because I'm like, does it really work and stuff? But then when I started trusting it and I started seeing like the results with people, down to like when I got a massage and I gave the massage lady a message and how she completely rerouted her life and now she's moving based on what I told her. And I'm like, damn, like I'm pretty freaking powerful. um, so I wanted to read this review that one of my recent participants or clients had Reiki done with me. And this was like a personal ceremony. She came to my house and I cleared the energy and I just kind of worked on her. I just want to read you what she said because it man, okay. So I've put off trying any form of energy work, even though I've been fascinated with the subject for several years. I was drawn to experience it, though, and I'm so lucky to have met Sara. I did not go to the session with any expectations because I wanted to be open to receiving the purest form possible. And mind you, this is not part of it, but like this client is highly intuitive on a highest level, even than I can process. So keep that in mind. She said, I had many sensations and saw many things in my mind's eye during the session. When Sara told me her intuitive findings, I was blown away. I'd seen or felt many of the things she described in my own visions. This instilled so much hope in me. I've longed for proof that humankind can connect with each other in a space beyond words, sounds, and sight. It's been important for me to recognize that we can connect with each other on the energetic level, where we can exchange our deepest wishes with one another freely and without resistance. Having a renewed respect and faith in this fact, I feel so safe and empowered to go after all the things my heart yearns for. Thank you, Sara. And when I read that, like my eyes just get teary because I felt that, man. Like she came open. And she was on me. She was like, can you do it? Can you do it? And I kept putting it off for a little while because I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I'm up to it and stuff. And I had a lot going on. And finally it was aligned to where I could feel like I could do it. And for her to get that type of, for her to receive that from me, just like really, really put things into perspective that I do have such high healing capabilities. And I know that I can help give people the tools to feel better, feel free, feel more themselves, and feel more magnetic. And that's something to it too, is like really tuning into your magnetism, because on some level we all have that. We all have some level of magnetism, but it's just like anything else. You have to tune it. You have to do the work. You have to, feel good. And like in your day to day, you can't just feel like constrained and, oh my God, I have to do this. And oh my God, there's this going on. I'm so busy. And we stay so wrapped up in everything. And I'm here to just bring us back down to earth so we can ground. We can really feel into this energy of this earth that we are on, that it's so abundant. Like literally, if you think about the concept of ocean and water and how it stretches for miles and thousands and thousands and thousands of miles, and the grass. And when you think deeper levels underneath the grass, underneath the mountains, into the earth's core, how, like, what a deep level that we can't even comprehend. And that we know through like science and, people doing research and that kind of stuff, but like how that can transcend even exponentially into the cosmos. Like now you're dealing with um planets, like, and that's blown my mind too with astrology and learning all of this, is like how this all affects us so personally and how this really does develop who we are and how we're able to take these tools, how we're able to learn more, how we're really able to live the life we want to have based on doing the research and based on finding supportive energies, living in supportive places that help our energies. Like, for instance, me moving down to Florida has really opened up a whole new sense of spirituality for me that I was never used to. I was never meditating like this for 2, 3 hours. Like I maybe could do 10 minutes and stuff because I'm just so busy in Atlanta. I got this going on. I go to here. I got to do this. And like, I really can tap into myself. I'm like healing on such different levels that now I'm being called to like go to different locations like New York, like California, and really just take what I'm learning and integrate it into my life and be able to help others through this as well because I'm hosting more events. I want people to feel better. Like that is my mission in life. Feel better. Don't feel in strain. Don't feel like life is so hard and challenging and um just the way that people are so wrapped up into work and you give yourself to work, you give yourself to money, you do these things, and then your whole life can go by. And where are the moments where it's like, yeah, you get glimpses of like nice family trips here and there, but like, what's your day to day? How do you feel day to day? Because for me, even with everything going on in my life, with the heartbreak, with releasing, letting him go, and dealing with like, oh man, I got to feel like a princess for 3 months and a queen, and he just treated me so good and it was so beautiful. For me to go from that to like not receiving that, like I could have really taken that harder, but I feel so good in my skin. I feel like I'm always just coming back home to myself. I'm always learning more about myself. And I'm always learning the things to help other people learn more about themselves. And I think that's what I am here on this earth to do, is help people like you. You're here, you're listening, you made it this far. So either you like my personality and you're liking this and you're liking what you're hearing and it's making some sense to you, or maybe you're just here because it's a cool little scene. I don't know. But for me, I'm here to help. I'm here to be of service. I'm here to and do it in a way where I feel expansive, where I feel honored, where I feel like I am doing my life's work and I'm also receiving monetary compensation for it because it's all in exchange. And that's why I'm going to have all these different cool programs and accessible ways for people to get information, even through just listening to my podcasts and getting little bits and downloads for what I want to talk about with different, workshops and stuff. So like I want to do so much and I'm here to do it. And I have a lot of energy and I'm here to transmit this energy into the cosmos of the internet world and put it out there. So if you got this and you're just like, this is random, I would love to know what you think. Uh, Shared support where you are at in your journey in the comments. I would love to know what you guys are going through. If you're feeling any of these big shifts, if you're feeling like your life is quantum jumping before you know it and you're losing relationships and it feels like everything's getting swept off and under you and it's like big and rocky, share it, talk about it, because that's how we build community. And I would really love to know what all of you guys are going through and any questions you guys have as well and how it can be of service. So I'm going to wrap up today's episode because I feel like I got out a lot and I need to blow my nose. And so I am going to end this with, what do I want to end it with? detaching from the outcome. I think the biggest, I would say that the biggest lesson, and this is something I said with Matthew when we kind of had our breakup talk at my studio. He came over and we had a heart to heart to kind of get clear and open our hearts up. And just, I felt so broken at that time. I was crying so much because it just felt really hard. And I said something about that. And I said those words, and it just clicked in his head. And he was like, yeah, that's exactly it. Because we can't sit here and try to force ourselves to stay in something that wasn't going to work in the capacity that it was. Like, it was getting hard for both of us. Like, me traveling and living out of bags and stuff. Like, I can do that. Like, honestly, that's not that hard for me, but it's a lot on someone like him with his limited sacred energy. And I could feel that. I could feel it was not stable for him. He needs just to be with himself right now, to be honest, after navigating that last relationship he was in. And he just needs that time to heal and like find himself and do that. And so the whole thing of coming back to detaching from the outcome is when you let it go, when you stop stressing, when you just say, okay, universe, just guide me, just take me, I surrender. Watch what happens and practice that in some way in your life. So if that's with your job, if that's with, booking sales or whatever you're doing, detach from the outcome and see what happens. So I'm going to wrap up now, but thank you for being here, and I will come in soon with another episode. And enjoy your day. Spread your light and your love. Thank you, guys.